the soft glow dawn spreads across the sky, casting golden light over the quiet village. The chirping birds and the rustling leaves creates a peaceful melody. A gentle breeze sways the tall grass as the village awakens. Inside a modest wooden house, Ray stirs from his sleep. The morning sun filters through the window, casting a warm glow on his face. He opens his eyes, taking a deep breath of morning fresh air. Another peaceful morning, Ray, softly to himself. Ray rises from his bed, stretching his arms before stepping outside. The village is alive with the sounds of daily routines, women drawing water from the well, children laughing as they play, and merchants setting up their stalls. Ray smiles, enjoying the tranquility. Ray walks over to the small barn beside his home and begins feeding the livestock. He moves methodically, ensuring each task is done with care. He fetches water, chops wood, and tidies up the small courtyard outside his home. Just as he finishes his last task, a sudden, terrified scream pierces the morning air. "Help! Help! Help! They're attacking the whole village!" a villager shouted loudly. Ray's eyes widen. Without hesitation, he grabs the wooden training sword beside him and sprints toward the commotion. As he reaches the village square, he sees a band of armed raiders, rough, battle-worn men with scavenged armor and cruel eyes, pillaging homes and harassing the villagers. Ray shouted with authority, "Hey! Stop this at once!" Upon hearing Ray's demand, one of the raiders sneers at him, brandishing a crude blade, pointing at Ray and said, "What did you just say? Do you want to get killed?" "Who do you think you are, huh?" "Punk!" said in a vicious expression. Another raider steps forward and said mockingly, "And what's a farmhand boy like you gonna do about it, huh?" Cry? Once he said it, the other raiders started to laugh and made fun of Ray. Upon hearing the raiders mocking and making fun of him, Ray's expression hardens. Didn't said a single word as he clenched his fist and he dashes forward with incredible speed, catching the raider off guard. A single powerful strike sends him sprawling to the ground. The other raiders hesitate for a moment before charging at him, weapons raised. Ray moves like a tempest, his strikes swift and devastating. Within moments, he has incapacitated several of them, leaving only one conscious raider trembling in fear. "Please, please, don't kill me. I swear I'll never do this again." "I can make it up to you, I promise," terrified raider said pleadingly. Suddenly, a voice has been heard and says, "If you don't let my men go, I'll slit her throat." Caine Sanders, who happens to be the leader of the raiders, said coldly. Ray freezes as he turns to see a towering figure standing behind Jewel Jones, his aunt, the wife of Grandmaster Adam, whom he refers as Mom now. Caine Sanders, the leader of the raiders, grips a massive sword in one hand while holding Jewel hostage with the other. Ray's heart pounds as he takes in the sight of his aunt trembling in fear, his hand tightened into fists. "No! Mom!" Jewel's eyes with tears as she looks at Ray. Even though she is not his biological mother, the bond they share is undeniable. "I suggest you back off, boy. If you so much as twitch, I'll kill her from where she stands." Ray grits his teeth, his rage barely contained, but he knows he can't risk it. With a satisfied smirk, Caine said, "That's what I thought." Then Caine signals his remaining men to retreat. As they move away, one of them tosses a torch onto a nearby house, setting it ablaze. Inside, the terrified cries of children echo through the flames. Ray's rage ignites. His instinct screams to go after Caine, but his heart knows his first priority. He rushes toward the burning house, ignoring the laughter of the retreating raiders as they escape across the border into the kingdom of Kraken. With sheer determination, Ray bursts into the house, pulling the children out one by one. Smoke stings his eyes and heat scorches his skin, but he refuses to stop until every child is safe. Finally, as the house collapses into ashes, he falls to his knees, exhausted and seething with fury. Ray whispered and vowed to himself, "I promise I will hunt you people down and you will all pay for this."
Meanwhile, in the grand capital of Kingdom of Stallion, a majestic city with towering spires, stone-paved roads and sprawling place is a heart. The sun casts a golden glow over the city, making it like rivers shimmer like liquid fire. Inside the royal keep, Queen Lyra stands by the window of her lavish chamber. Glazing at the horizon, her long silver hair cascades over her regal gown, her striking emerald eye filled with thought. The weight of the upcoming expected war presses heavily upon her shoulders. Suddenly, a knock at the door interrupts her thoughts. "Come in," Queen Lyra said calmly.
Right then, an elite Queen's Guard came into her chamber and respectfully bowed to Queen Lyra and said in a respectful tone, "Your Grace, the council awaits your presence." Queen Lyra straightens herself, nodding firmly before turning to leave the room. As she steps through palace halls, the camera lingers on her determined expression. This war is coming, and she must find a way to protect her people.
At the grand chamber with high ceilings, adorned with blue banners of horses, sunlight streams through arched windows, casting golden hues over an ornate council table. Seated around it are councillors, adorned in robes of their respective houses, their expressions tense. Queen Lyra turns her expressions unreadable as she strides to head of the table and said, "Let us begin."
Council vendor, an aged man with sharp features, clears his throat and said worriedly, "The war with the Ironheart continent is no longer a distant threat. Iron Wall and Bronze Wall are rallying forces. We must act now." Councillor Renda, a blurry man with a silver beard, scoffs and said, "To do what? Fight them alone? We are strong but not invincible."
Councillor Celine, a woman with piercing green eyes, leaned forward and said, "We must consider an alliance. The question is, with whom?" Murmurs rise around the chamber. A tension that has long existed now looms over them.
"Are you talking about House Kraken?" Councillor Vendor asked. "Silence!" The name itself sends a shiver through the council. The history between House Stallion and House Kraken is drenched in blood and betrayals. Absolutely not. Have you forgotten the Kraken Wars? The massacre at Black Tide? Their king, Ralph Reagan, the man known as King Shark, would rather see us drown than aid us, Councillor Rendell said angrily. Times have changed, Rendell.
"We cannot afford to let history dictate our survival," Councillor Celine said it with a sigh. The debate got heated, voices overlapping, tempers rising until a soft yet firm voice interrupts them. "Then let us change history," Princess Natalie said it calmly. The room falls silent as Princess Natalie steps forward from the shadows. Her golden hair cascades in soft waves over her royal blue gown, her sapphire eyes fierce yet full of wisdom beyond her years. "What are you doing here? You shouldn't be," just as Queen Lyra were about to say. Natalie interrupted and said, I know, I'm too young. I shouldn't involve myself in politics, but Mother, please listen." Queen Lyra exhales, glanced at the council before nodding. "Go ahead, my daughter." Princess Natalie steps closer, her voice steady, her presence commanding. Then Princess Natalie exhales and said, "The war is upon us. Iron Wall and Bronze Wall are not just our enemies. They are invaders threatening our land, our people. We cannot stand alone, nor can we afford to be blinded by the past. The war will cost us greatly." Just as she was about to continue, Councillor Rendell interrupted and said,
"And it will cost them, too. What is your point, child?"
Then Princess Natalie explained, "That House Kraken must know this as well. I suggest we should travel to the Kingdom of Kraken. and use this opportunity to seek an audience with King Ralph. He may be ruthless, but he is not a fool. He knows war with Iron Wall and Bronze Wall will be disastrous not just for us, but to the whole continent as well. The council murmurs, exchanging uncertain glances. Slowly, nods of agreement begins to surface. "She speaks with wisdom beyond her years," Councillor Celine said with a smile. Councillor Velda nodded and said, "A dangerous gamble, but perhaps the only one we have." "Then it is decided," Queen Lyra said with relief. "Send the envoy to the Kingdom of Kraken right away." After a few hours later, the council meeting. Queen Lyra walks towards Princess Natalie's chamber and enters the room with few knocks, her elegant gown flowing behind her as she steps into the chamber. Natalie, a vision of youthful beauty with golden locks cascading over her shoulders, is seated by the window, a paintbrush in hand. The canvas before her is breathtaking depiction of the kingdom of Stallion at sunrise. "Come in, Mother," Natalie cheerfully said. Queen Lyra smiles softly, closing the door behind her before taking a seat on the edge of Natalie's bed. Natalie sets her brush down and gracefully pours a cup of tea, offering it to her mother. "What brings you here at this hour?" "You know I usually paints night," Natalie said with a smile. "I know, my love, I did not mean to disturb your work," Queen Lyra said. Her gaze lingers on Natalie's painting, admiration flickering in her eyes. "You have your father's gift. He was a lover of art just like you," Queen Lyra said with a smile. Natalie's expression falters slightly at the mention of her father, but she quickly masks it. Queen Lyra takes a deep breath, as if gathering the strength to say what's been on her mind. Today, at the council, just as Queen Lyra was about to continue, Natalie opens her mouth to respond, but Queen Lyra interrupts. Her voice was filled with warmth and pride, said, "I'm proud of you, my daughter. Truly, your words carried wisdom beyond your years." Natalie blinks in surprise, then smiles softly, setting her cup aside as she moves toward her mother. Queen Lyra reaches out and pulls Natalie into an embrace, holding her close. Queen Lyra sadly whispered, "I miss your father so much, my love." Natalie stiffens for a moment before wrapping her arms around her mother, tears welling in her eyes. "I know, Mother. I miss him just as much as you do." Queen Lyra strokes Natalie's hair, pressing a kiss to her forehead, and says if he were here, we wouldn't be in this mess. He would have handled it effortlessly. A tear escapes down Natalie's cheek as her voice trembling with emotion. "I know, Mum," Natalie said while rubbing her eyes. A heavy silence falls them as memories of King Bronze Stallion, King of Kingdom of Stallion, flood their minds. The beloved ruler, a man of great wisdom and kindness, had succumbed to a sudden heart attack 2.5 years ago, leaving a void both in their lives. Queen Lyra sighs deeply, wiping a tear from Natalie's cheek, and says, "He would be so proud of you, my love." Natalie offers a watery smile, nodding in silent agreement.
The sun has risen, painting the sky with hues of gold crimson. The village of Stallion stands in solemn silence. Though the fires has been extinguished and the wounded tended to, the weight of recent events lingers in the air. Villagers move about repairing homes, reinforcing defenses, their faces etched with exhaustion. Days ago, peace was shattered when the dagger claws descended upon the village of Stallion, A ruthless band of raiders led by the cold-blooded person named Caine Sanders left destruction in their wake. Homes burning, villagers screaming, Ray fighting off the raiders with unparalleled skill, cutting through them like a force of nature. The last surviving raider trembling in fear, begging for his life. Caine emerging from the shadows, a blade to Mother Jewel's throat. Ray's expression shifting from rage to helplessness as Caine holds her hostage. A torch setting a small home ablaze, children screaming inside. Ray rushing into the inferno, emerging moments later with the children in his arms. Caine and his men disappearing into the distance, beyond the borders of the kingdom of Stallion, into the lands of the Kraken. The village is healing. The fires are gone, homes are being rebuilt, wounds are being tended to. The people look up to Ray, grateful for his heroism. But Ray is restless. Ray sits in silence, sharpening his blade. His eyes burns with vengeance. Mother Jewel's absence lays heavy on him, as he remembers her kind voice, her warm embrace. His grip on the blade tightens. Dressed in warrior's garb, sword strapped to his back, Ray stands at the edge of the village mountain as the sun rises before him. "I will bring you home, Mom, and those bastards will pay," Ray vows to himself. As Ray stood tall on the edge of the village mountain, his gaze lingering on his humble home one last time. Then, with a sharp turn, he focused his attention to the distant borders of the kingdom of Kraken. To do what needs to be done.
To be continued. Hey there, it's Ray here. If you want to know what happens next, follow the Bookworms YouTube channel for our latest videos and updates.